Hi, Glenn from Aussie Tech Heads. Join Will, Eric and myself as we bring you the latest, most up-to-date, important tech news that affects you from Australia and the world. Weekly podcast available each Friday through iTunes. Watch the live stream recording of the show at live.thesecrethub.com each Thursday night, 7:30pm or GMT plus 10. Call in live via Skype or chat in our lounge. However you get us, just make sure you do. Listen or visit our website for more information, www.aussietechhead.com.au. Aussie Tech Heads, Australia's longest-running tech news podcast.
Techwebcast, streamed from our brains to our mouths, to your ears, to your brain. It's like our brains are holding hands. Brain hands. Techwebcast, here, now, holding brain hands.
And welcome to Techwebcast episode 281 of the Techwebcast podcast, recorded on the 29th of March 2014. Techwebcast is recorded every Saturday and rebroadcast on Aussie Tech Heads on Thursday evenings at 7pm. Please rate us on iTunes and like us at facebook.com/Techwebcast. Your hosts today are Brad, Steve, Jen, and myself, Andrew. And our special guest today is Steve Malk from malkstvtalk.com. And we've also got Jacob Jones in, and he's dropped by to talk about old school retro video games.
Yes, indeed.
How you doing today, Brad?
I am going well, mate, and yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, buddy. Very good. It's a nice Saturday over here in Melbourne, Australia, and it's sunny and it's all happening.
It's all indeed, mate. We weren't here last week, and it's good to have a break. We're back again with Steve and Jacob as the guests.
Yeah, it's great actually to have Steve Malk back on Techwebcast. I think he's been on a number of times now, so it's always good to have you on, Steve.
Definitely, I agree. Welcome, Steve. Good to have you on, buddy.
Thank you. I'm a serial offender.
And yeah, we've got two Steves on today. We've got Steve, normal co-host Steve, and we've got Steve Malk. So we'll probably try and refer to you as Malk just to keep it nice and easy for the audio guests tuning in.
Definitely.
That sounds like a plan.
Yep, I agree. Jennifer, how are you? Welcome back after the 1 week break.
Hi, thanks. Great to be back. I missed you guys last week.
And what have you been up to? How's your week been? Have you seen anything cool around or anything like that?
I'll tell you, my week has been fantastic. I took several days off this week. I went out to the beach. We went to go see a couple of bands, a couple of shows, and just had a great old time. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice one. What band did you see?
You may not know of them. They're indie rock. So the Mowgli's and Buried Beds and Mr. Wives.
Okay.
So they're kind of, alternative / indie. Really cool. Great, happy, feel-good music.
Good stuff.
Fun times. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Sounds fun. And Andrew, how's your week been? Have you been up to anything exciting, mate? Or?
Oh, not really. Just been working quite heavily on my little platform and just a lot of work going on. Christy, my wife, is 30 weeks pregnant now, so that's starting to become all pretty serious. Yeah. So,
my gosh, only 10 weeks left.
Right.
What?
So,
it's gone.
Yeah,
wow.
It's gone. Yeah. So we're just trying to get everything ready here in the house and get things organized and sorted.
Wow.
So it's been crazy.
When's the due date again? June
Official
something.
due date. Yeah, it's June the 6th. So,
June 6th, that's right.
Yeah, so it's coming up at, you never know. I mean, realistically, any time from the start of April onwards, you just don't know. So realistically, we need to be set up running in about, 4 weeks from now.
You looking forward to it, Andrew?
Look, I am. It's one of those things where it's scary and exciting at the same time, but you roll with the punches, and it's going to be fun. It'll be something totally different, but I'm up for it.
Good stuff. Steve, Chatterbox Live. Steve, how are you, mate? Welcome back to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Another great week. I did have something go on. I've been waiting for a new driver to come out for one of my hardware cards, and because I've got Mavericks, I was waiting for the new update. So I installed it, and all of a sudden my computer would go into a reboot. It would randomly reboot. So they didn't have an easy way of removing it, so I was going to do it manually, but it turns out there's an application you can uninstall it. So Right now, everything's working fine, but I'm waiting for the fix or something for it, so I'm going to have to contact support on that.
Cool one, mate.
Oh.
Cool one. All right.
Wow, what did you upgrade from? What were you? I mean, how old is your machine? Let me ask you that.
No, it's not the computer that's doing it. There's a driver. I use a PCI card that it's a hardware encoder because I use it for video editing, and it encodes it using this hardware card. And I put a new driver in for Mavericks, which just came out like maybe 4 days ago or so. And the only thing, though, it just randomly boot. Like I leave, I come back, and I'm like, well, the screen's all weird. And, so it rebooted. I figured out after a while, it kept on doing this. So I tried to uninstall the drivers, had some, I was trying to figure out how to do that because there was an application to do it. So I was going to do it manually. Well, anyway, I got it uninstalled. It's working fine. So, yeah,
Good.
like I
I'm
said,
glad that it's working now.
Yeah, it's not the computer that's doing it. It's the driver that's messing it up.
Okay.
All right. We also got Jacob on as well. Jacob, welcome, mate. Jacob Jones
Thanks.
from Old School Gaming. What do you do, mate?
Nothing much. Work on Tech Luster.
Yeah, that show's no longer around, is it? Or still going or what?
Well, it's on hold. We're still trying to get some ideas.
We are indeed, mate. And what do you do? What else do you do during the week? Anything exciting or?
Nothing really.
Well, okay.
About Old School Gaming?
Yeah, I watched the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Well, that's not really gaming, is it, mate? That's a video, isn't it?
Yeah, no, he
Well,
does.
What type of
No,
games?
he puts it to the point. Like if the peripheral is good or bad.
Oh.
Well, what
Okay.
do you old school game? What games?
Yep. Yeah, what games have you been checking out? Any old games? Tell us about it.
The only old games I play is the Mario games. That's it.
So then, why are you here?
Because I would talk about Mario games.
Well,
'cause
then, this is why you're here, Jacob. Tell us then. You're here to talk about old school gaming. Then tell us about it. What games have you been playing? You're here for a reason, mate.
Hey, okay. Well, those games I'm mostly playing, but I'm reaching out for some new ones. I watch videos on my Apple TV to see if there's any other games I would like to try,
Okay.
like Alien Nation.
Okay. Andrew, any questions for Jacob?
What about the Sonic Hedgehog series? Have you got involved in that? I mean, I'm more of a Nintendo person as well, so I love Mario and the early Mario Kart and all those sorts of things. But, Sonic I don't mind as well. There's some really cool old games, and even a lot of those sorts of games are now being played on people's phones and, iPads and mobile devices just because you can play, have a good game in 10 minutes, whereas a modern game, sort of in 10 minutes, all you've done is sort of set up your character. Do you do that as well, Jacob? Like, do you actually play that on sort of mobile gaming, emulators while you're out and about?
No, I play it on my computer. Basically, I just have it on my computer, so it'd be easier because I don't have the old systems out because they're all in my attic. All 10 of my old Nintendos.
Wow,
One is working, and the rest were just for parts.
So what's the compelling reason that you like the old retro video games? I mean, I've got my reasons why I do, but what is it that draws you to it? We've got all these new cool games, Xbox One, PS4, and all this sort of stuff. But what drives you back to the old school stuff?
For one, I was born when the Nintendo came out,
Mm-hmm.
so one of the peripherals that I would say that should not be gotten is the Power Glove.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Power Glove.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, because you have these lasers on the screens. Yeah, like the Angry Video Game Nerd. What he had to do was tape the stuff to his TV. Who'd want to do that?
I mean, it's really old school.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the one on Xbox?
What are you talking about?
Not sure which one, mate.
I'm looking at one right now where it's got I'm having a mind blank.
Okay. Jennifer, what about you? Do you get much into old school gaming? What games have you been playing? Any old games at all? Or?
I had downloaded some of the old school games when I was using the Xbox, and it was actually, I think it was on the Xbox 360. I have some downloaded, like Metroid and Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that I enjoy about it is there's just something more simple about it. It seems easier to use and a little bit more fun to me rather than the ones today. I find myself not knowing what buttons to do what on today's controllers versus the old school ones were just so easy to me. I really sound old right now, don't I? Like, these new games and
But no, it's a really good point, Jennifer. I mean, these days, to really be good at a game, you've got to put hours and hours into it because there's 33,000 separate buttons that you could use. I mean, at our office, we play Super Tennis on Super Nintendo emulator. If you've never played that before, the learning curve is about 3 minutes. It's like, this is to serve, this is to hit the ball, go. And
that's great.
Yeah, exactly. It's so simple, and you can have fun. And 15 minutes later, lunch is over. You pack it up, you're done. As you said, with the new ones, you've got so many different buttons and combinations. And if I come up and I want to play a game with someone, and it's their game, and they've played it a million times before, and it's going to end 99-0. It's going to be really ugly. Whereas in the old games, I don't think you've got that. So it's a whole lot more fun and enticing. And the fun that you create is, laughing and carrying on with each other as you go, rather than trying to be, a computer scientist just to play a game.
Yeah, and it's not as serious. Exactly. It's just lighthearted. And
I have another peripheral that you don't know about.
You're beginning. Your next console is going to be a PS4 or the Xbox One. Have you decided at all?
I'm really, really undecided. I've got some dollars tucked for one of them. Yep. I mean, I could buy both, but I really don't want to.
I don't think you need both, mate.
No, but I really don't know which way to go. To the extent that I'm not buying any.
Yeah.
Like
I was thinking about that.
I just don't know which one to go, and it's got a hook up. I've got like a steering wheel, which apparently it won't hook up with, but it's got the peripherals, the clutch pedal and accelerators and all that sort of stuff, and I've got like a seat thing that it goes into. So whichever one I get has to sort of hook into that. But I mean, I'm told that the PlayStation 4 has a better graphics rendering engine.
Okay.
But it's really hard because I mean I've been Xbox, then Xbox 360, and I think they have a great platform as well, and I enjoy Xbox Live, but I've really got no idea which way to go with this one.
Is the PS4 the live version of that, is that free to join up, or does it cost money?
It costs money. Just like,
does it really?
Like
how much general? How much?
I 50? Got 50. Jacob, you're the expert here. So
it's a year, is it? What's that include? What's that include?
Gameplay and stuff like that.
Talk with Jacob. God.
So
sorry.
I can download additional games, so they'll give us games at a discount, and it allows us for communication with our friends. And so, a lot like what Xbox does with it. But it does give you some special deals and maybe some other free games or highly discounted games that you can download. So it's nice. Definitely is needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, you've got a PS4, haven't you?
I do have a PS4, and I'll tell you, I don't play it nearly as much as I kind of wish I should. I kind of, everyone was talking about it, and I thought, well, let me just see what all the hype is about. Clearly, I must be missing out on something since everyone loves gaming so much. But I just can't seem to make myself use it. It's just, I don't know who has the time to sit down and play games.
Yeah. Is it also the learning curve? Like,
Maybe.
I mean, you sit down, and I don't know about your attention span, but mine is about 1 hour max when I play games because, I've got a million things on my mind and I'm trying to do other things. But I just find that in that time, you don't get enough actual enjoyment value out of it because you're setting up and you're doing this and you're learning the game. I mean, maybe is that something for you as well, Jen?
It is. Like one of the games that I recently did play, I became frustrated within the first 30 minutes. I was like, you know what, forget this. It's a waste of time, and I haven't touched it since. So I get a little bit frustrated, and I want to kind of jump right into it. I don't want to learn. I want to know. I don't want to take the time to
Yeah.
figure it out.
What about you, Mox TV? Do you play any games at all? Or?
Yeah, no, I it's sort of a broad spectrum. I mean, we've just got an Xbox One at home, and Titanfall and Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare, so they tend to be the focus on that at the moment. But lots of iOS gaming and stuff. But my gaming history stretches back to putting 20 cents into Space Invaders or Rygar or that sort of thing.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you think of Titanfall, Milk?
I think it's the only thing that I found really frustrating about Titanfall was that there was no kind of real longer single player mission, like that it's just all entirely an online. Even though they have these missions, all of it is about, well, here's people online that are going to come in and play this game with you while you progress through the mission section. Other than that, I think it's cool. It just, what happens if, for example, in Australia, it's not uncommon to have internet outages. What happens if I want to play one day and the internet's down?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Someone's got Facebook open. Steve, what about you? Chatterbox Live, what about you? Do you play any games at all?
Actually, talking about old school gaming, way back in I guess it was the 80s or 70s or 80s, I think I've had one of the first versions of commercial gaming system that came out. It was a Pong game, and it was just one piece, and both controllers sit on the same thing side by side. They weren't individual controllers, and you had like 4 different games, so you hook it up to your television and play Pong, and it had basically variations of the same thing, handball and hockey or something. So
what game was that?
I think it was
what
just
system
Pong.
console was that?
It wasn't a console per se. It was just ping pong. That was all it was. It just 2 paddles on each side and the ball, and that was about it.
I had a similar sort of thing. It was I forget what the name was, but it was sort of an orange and white color. I remember that, and that was before Atari 2600, and then I had the Atari, which was phenomenal, of course. But yeah, I had this system, and it was probably quite similar. Just Pong. It had about 8 or 10 games, and it was built into it. It wasn't cartridge, and it was a whole lot of fun. And then obviously Nintendo Entertainment System came out, and I had a few friends that had that for about a year, and finally got my own Nintendo, and wow, that was fun. And it's funny, I mean, after that, the Super Nintendo, like if you look at the Super Nintendo controller, we haven't really moved away from that ever since. I mean, the controllers we're still using now are 20 years ago from the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true. And my first console was an Odyssey 2, Magnavox Odyssey 2, and I loved it because it had a QWERTY keyboard, and it was there were some little hacks with the games that I could do, and it was just a lot of fun. And then after that, we went for a big lull, and I didn't have a system until NES. And I was babysitting these kids in the neighborhood, and I was addicted to NES. I was a teenager, and I was just so good at it. And all the little boys loved having me as a babysitter because I could just like play with them for hours on NES and show them how to win. But since then I grew up, and I just don't have the time anymore, I guess.
I got a question for Jacob. Now, Jacob, what's your view on these newer consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One? What do you think about them?
Well, by what I've seen, by looking at them, we're pretty good. And I had something from the old 2 more peripherals that sucked from the Nintendo.
Go ahead, mate.
Did you even know that the Nintendo had a piano?
No.
No, I didn't know that. The piano.
Yeah. What it does is it teaches you to play piano on the NES.
Gee.
No, I didn't know it had that.
Interesting.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The thing eats your batteries. I sent a photo to Jennifer so she could take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I saw it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
very cool.
So
and one more.
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
And Rob the Robot. Oh, it only has like 2 functions. And it only has like 1 game, Gyromite, and another game that deals with stacking.
I'm going to add a peripheral that really sucked on Nintendo, and that was the gun. It promised so much.
Yes.
I can remember Duck Hunt, And it was
Duck Hunt, I remember that.
when Duck Hunt came out, and you could get the gun with it. Mind blown. We all thought this is the coolest thing of all time. I can shoot a gun at the screen just like at the arcade. What they neglect to tell you is that when you actually calibrate this thing, it's got about a play of 5 or 6 inches either way of where you shoot. That's not very accurate when your TV is about 15 or 12 or 15 inches in total. So basically, if the actual, the bullet, the gun spray hits the screen, you've got, maybe a third, a 25% chance that it's going to hit where you're pointing it to. So I think you play it for probably half an hour until you realize that your input is entirely irrelevant to what's happening on screen.
What are they? How much were they to buy, Andrew, back in the day? How much were they?
They weren't cheap. I mean, if games back in the day were sort of $30 or $50, I think it was about another $50 or $80 for the gun. I think it was about half the price of the system to get the game and gun.
Jeez, okay, interesting.
Yeah, has anybody tried the light gun? Stick the gun into a light and pull the trigger?
Into a light? No.
Yeah, it actually tricks the game into thinking that you shooting at the screen.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
No.
And then there was a fishing rod as well, I think, on Nintendo.
I think there was, yeah.
Deep sea fishing or something. I never played it, but to me that would just be the ultimate of boredom. To go fishing on a TV screen.
That would be so
That's
bored.
so funny.
Yeah, that would be very funny and bored in 1 second.
Mhm.
Okay, Jenna, let's get into some news and then we'll come back to Moggs and have a chat with him about TV stuff. And
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, well, the first story is coming from Engadget, and it is about iBeacons. San Francisco Giants and most of Major League Baseball have adopted Apple's iBeacon for an enhanced ballpark experience. For what they've done, actually, starting here as of right now, really, but this season, rather, iBeacon, they've installed this, and it is a small Apple device that communicates with iPhones through Bluetooth to expand the location services in iOS. So it's actually like a marketing tool, and it lets apps know when you approach or leave the presence of an iBeacon. And this is the first season that baseball is implementing the technology with 20 of the 30 Major League Baseball teams. And retailers have been using it this past year as well. So the Giants have found this to be a better way to engage with fans. And here's a quote: "Mobile and digital experiences are paramount to our fan experience," according to Schlau. Actually, Schlo, I think his last name is pronounced. And they have played a role in the fact that we have had 246 straight sellouts. Now, of course, they have won 2 World Series in the past 5 years, so that probably helps with their ticket sales as well. The Giants have been one of the most technologically progressive organizations in baseball. Fans first enjoyed in-stadium cell coverage in the early 2000s, and in 2004, the club became the first in professional sports to turn its stadium into a Wi-Fi hotspot. And currently, there are 1,289 Wi-Fi antennas blanketing the ballpark with connectivity good enough to stream video to thousands of fans. Also, during the off-season, when the Giants installed the iBeacons, they also put in a new LTE backhaul system that delivers even more bandwidth to ticket holders. So altogether, they have 19 iBeacons located at each entry and exit point of the ballpark, and that varies per ball stadiums. The Dodgers, for example, they have 65 installed because they have more exits and entrances to Dodger Stadium, and so these will be used to check fans in upon entry, assuming that they have an iOS 7 device running the MLB at the Ballpark app, and they need to have their Bluetooth turned on. The app's availability is to both iOS and Android devices, and the app provides maps, concession info, video clips, and the ability to upgrade your seat. But only the folks with Apple phones will benefit from the iBeacon experience. So once they check in, the teams can tailor push-made notifications and relevant offers through the app. And fans don't have to be worried that they'll be bombarded with junk. They're not planning on spamming fans with this information at all. So if anything, it's just going to give them more creative ways to get information into the fans that will be relevant to them. So yay for MLB and iBeacons. And Brad, would you like me to move along through each story, and then we'll talk at the
end? Let's go through them. You talk,
sure.
And then we'll talk at the end. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, the next story is coming from tvtonight.com.au, and it is about BBC First. So, the Coast Australia had actually launched BBC First. Three Musketeers, Peaky Blinders, and The Politician's Husband and Banished are amongst the new run dramas that are going to be on this new pay TV channel. And the one thing about this channel that is important to know, it will be launching in Australia in August on the drama and lifestyle tier as one of 3 new global brands announced in 2013. So it will, again, arrive only in Australia, and it will offer some premium British drama and comedy without ads, which is great. Also, titles, the further titles will be Burton and Taylor, Quirk, The Game, Dead Boss, Alan Partridge, mockumentaries, new seasons of Derek and The Fall, and in 2015, Call the Midwife and New Tricks. So keep a lookout for that. And moving on to the next story. This one comes from Engadget, and it is about Philips' awesome 2014 4K TVs. So Philips 4K TVs this year are coming out with some smaller models, and they have a few tricks up their sleeve. The company has a new 55-inch 8809 series that gives you Android. Yes, Android. So you'll see Google Play apps as well as access to your Dropbox content. It also has 1 gigahertz refresh rate and Ambilight illumination that plays nicely with both games and hue lights. They have a 48-inch and a 55-inch 1080p running Android, and they also have a 7809 series, which is 42 inches, 49 inches, and 55 inches. So keep a lookout for Android TVs coming out soon from Philips. And moving on to the next story coming from VentureBeat. Apple engineer reveals where the iPhone software came from. So, Greg Christie, he is a senior engineer at Apple, revealed to the Wall Street Journal that Steve Jobs gave his team an ultimatum back in February 2005. Come up with some big ideas for the iPhone within 2 weeks or lose the project to another group. Christie's team went on to innovate some major iconic features of the iPhone, like its slide to unlock feature and its integrated music player. And it's hard to think about this today because we're surrounded by our touchscreen devices and tablets. But before the iPhone, very few were thinking about touchscreen interfaces. So this is all very innovative. And he described their team working on the original iPhone software as shockingly small, and noted that they had banged their head against the wall to figure out a way to make text messages look more conversational rather than a mere line of text. So as Christie's team made headway and Jobs began obsessing about the project, it became clear that they were making progress. So something intriguing, they actually have a photo that Christie shows the setup that his team used to build the first version of iOS, and it features a plastic touchscreen connected to an aging Mac G3, which was similar to the iPhone's slow processor from the first iPhone, and the code name was Wallaby. So they have a court trial between Apple and Samsung next week about patent disputes. And this is why Apple finally offered this story and this information to the press. They want to prove that its innovations with the first iPhone came from years of hard work, and that Samsung copied many of its designs and features. Now, back in 2012, a federal judge found that Samsung's willfully infringed upon Apple's patents and ordered Samsung to pay more than $1 billion in damages, but that fee was slashed by $450 million due to a judge named Lucy Koh. And now there is another trial to assess the damages. So we'll see. All the excitement starts next week. And also in Apple news, coming from VentureBeat.com, Apple patents transparent texting, so you can text while moving. Yes, the company filed a patent for transparent texting. So this feature could allow Apple users to use iMessage and safely walk around while texting. Yeah, the tech behind the patent is simple. It's a live video feed from the iPhone's built-in camera, and it serves as a background for the text message. So that way, when you're typing, you can see what is in front of you. There was an app for that. Actually, there is an app for that still today, and they have it's called Type and Walk.
Do you actually? This is a question for anyone, really, Andrew or Jennifer. Do you text while you walk, Andrew or Jennifer or Steve?
Oh yes. I text and I walk. And,
yeah, same. I do.
I do.
Yeah.
I nearly fell over one time while I was doing.
I would.
I'm really bad at it, but I do it.
Yeah, I do too, and then sometimes I have to stop, and so, but I love this.
I can't even FaceTime audio with Jacob anymore while I walk. It's just it's really hard to do.
It is hard.
I can't.
They should bring it into FaceTime as well, FaceTime audio, because then you can have your camera on and people could see. You could see the road.
Mm-hmm.
True. What about you, Moggs? Do you do that as well? Or?
No.
It's
easy enough to walk and talk. That's cool. But if you're texting, just stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in the middle of the wave. Just step to the side and get it done.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
How about Steve?
Yeah. I usually don't. Text a whole lot, but when I do, usually I stop and do it. I don't necessarily walk.
Okay.
Well, let's move on to the next story coming from PC World Magazine, or PCWorld.com rather. They used to be a magazine. Is it still a magazine, PC World?
Yes.
It is. Okay. All right. So I wasn't far off. Microsoft has announced Office for iPad, extending productivity to all iOS devices. They officially announced this past Thursday. And they will be pushing Office Suite onto the most popular tablet in the world, the iPad. It is a touch-based version of Office, and they actually have one that works for Windows as well. Of course, since they do make Windows machines. But Microsoft Word for iPad, Excel for iPad, and PowerPoint for iPad will be free to download from the iTunes App Store. However, users will only be able to view existing documents. Microsoft will be asking users to sign up for an Office 365 subscription at $9.99 per month for Office 365 Home Premium and $6.99 per month for an upcoming personal plan to create or edit documents. Office for iPad will integrate with the user's OneDrive account, enabling a worker to create a PowerPoint presentation or Excel file, whatever it is, at the office, and then edit and revise it on a car ride or a train ride home, what have you. And the document will remain consistently formatted across the devices. So, so keep a lookout for this. Again, it will be subscription-based rather than just a one-time fee. Something to note that I did see in the article, and now I don't see it here, but it was, here it is, yeah. So when they released this for the Surface initially, Office for the Surface tablet, and then its successor, the Surface 2. That in the fourth quarter, that was just for 1 million units, but Apple has sold 26 million iPads in the fourth quarter alone. So it just really shows the numbers difference between the iPad and the Microsoft Surface tablet. And moving on to the next story coming from thenextweb.com, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and Twitter have launched WebScale SQL, a custom version of MySQL for massive databases. The 4 companies share a common set of changes to the upstream MySQL branch via an open source, and the project will include contributions from MySQL engineering teams from all 4 companies. And since it's open, others that have the scale and resources to customize MySQL will be able to join in the efforts and input as well. And moving on to the last story. This is from deskplace.com, and it's about an app called Relevance Plus 1.3, currently available on Windows and Android. Relevance Plus is an app that allows you to visualize and share your top followers on Google+. Once you're logged into Google+ through the app, it downloads your top followers and will display them on your screen, and then you can apply styles to the image, save it, and share it on G+. Both the Android version and the Windows versions are free, but with a few limitations. They do have advertisements on the Android versions, but they can be disabled by purchasing the app from the store. And you would do that from inside the app, and it also will unlock a top 100 mode. The Windows version does not have advertisements, but the top 100 mode is locked as well. So be sure to check that out. And that's it for the stories.
Good on you, Jen. Appreciate it.
Can I add something to the Relevance?
Go ahead.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Well, I found out you can unlock it on Windows for nothing.
Well, how do you get it on the Mac, though? You can't do it on the Mac. That sucks.
You can't do it on the Mac.
All you have to do is follow the owner.
That's what I read, that you could follow him. But it said you can unlock the full version of the app for free just by having me or Deskplace in your top 100 followers.
Oh, okay.
But how would I make him my top 100 follower? Because I have, I don't understand that.
Okay, Mox TV, any views on them stories at all, mate?
Look, there's a lot going on in all of that, isn't there?
Yeah.
I was actually really looking forward to the release of Microsoft Office on iPad, and when the pricing came out, it's just ludicrous. I can't think of a worse way to release a product. Fine, release it as a free thing so that you can view documents, that sort of thing, fine. But an for Australia, an in-app purchase of $120 subscription, $10 a month.
Crazy.
To be able to use it to edit files. And someone said to me, but that's fine. You get, licenses to use Office 365 on 5 PCs and laptops as well as five other mobile devices. I already have Office on my PCs and laptops and stuff. I don't need to pay $120 to have it on my iPad. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. It is.
When I read that, I agree with you, Milk, exactly. I was just like, forget it. I'm going to use Pages and Numbers and Keynote then on my iPhone in my iPad.
Oh, and it didn't hurt that if you bought a new Mac in the last 12 months or something, they're offering you free Pages, Keynote, and stuff anyway.
Exactly. This is the worst marketing plan I've heard of.
It is indeed. Steve, what's your view on the new Foxtel channel coming in August?
The BBC First?
Yeah.
Look, this is the outcome of them signing a pretty serious deal with BBC. I think it's a really smart move. The way that they're delivering it is really good. It means that people can access a whole bunch of pretty decent UK drama and stuff in Australia, whereas before it's kind of been drip-fed, when this channel wants to pick it up, when that channel wants to pick it up. To now have a dedicated network to that content, and their back catalogue is a huge score for fans of that genre of drama.
Yeah, definitely. No, I got the IQ box not long ago. I love it. I enjoy Foxtel now. Good way.
It's a cracker.
What's that?
It's excellent.
Oh, it is. Yeah, definitely. Now, what about the ABC channels? Will they have much effect to them at all? Or?
Well, a lot of the BBC drama that they used to have is now going to be over on this BBC First channel. The catch is that the deal that they signed meant that Doctor Who stays on ABC One, which is good. That's what the fans are wanting. It stays on free to air. But look, more and more product is starting to move across to subscription television. It would just be nice if in Australia we had some competition.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew, do you have any views on them stories, mate?
Yeah, look, the iBeacon stuff is really interesting at the very start. I think that's got a technology that it's a technology that could totally and utterly change the way that we use our phones and the way that we do things. I mean, the one scary thing about it is what happens if you've got your ticket or whatever on your handset and your battery runs out. Do you just not get to go to that event or anything like that? But having iBeacon and being able to sort of check into an area and then get deals and get updates on statistics and all these sorts of things, I think it's something that's going to really open up and revolutionize the next couple of years. We actually Zafo sponsored an iBeacon event at South by Southwest just because we really think that's a big technology that's moving up. And just with the Philips 4K TV, I'm really interested to see where this 4K stuff goes. It's with the current TVs we got, they sort of released high definition, and then we went, let's have 3D at home if you just wear these crazy glasses, and that never went anywhere. But I think 4K is really going to start to go somewhere once we start getting some distribution of content, which I think hopefully won't be too far away. But I'm really looking forward to moving into that general direction. And just on the what's that, Brad?
I was going to say, so your next TV will be a 4K TV then?
Oh, without a doubt, without hesitation. I bought a pretty standard high def TV about 2 or 3 years ago, a 55-inch, but I opted away from smart TV and away from 3D because I just didn't think it was worthwhile bang for buck. But my next TV will definitely be 4K. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And
sorry,
you're right. You're right.
I was just going to catch in that the only downside to doing anything and getting a 4K television at the moment is that there is zero content.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just cool stuff, but unless you want to download like a 6-minute demo, it's no good to anyone.
And that's all it's going to be for a while, until they start putting out DVDs that offer 4K quality, which isn't happening. And it's going to look great, but broadcast television isn't going to be 4K in Australia for at least 20 years.
Really, that long?
It is.
They're fighting for bandwidth now to get HD.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yep. That is true. Go ahead, Steve. What do you want to say, mate?
Oh, I was agreeing. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that.
Nah, 4K looks good. I had seen one at a Samsung store a while back. Looks good on the TV. 4K.
It was interesting to see the Apple story about the first iPhone. I actually spent some time at South by Southwest with a gentleman named Andy Grignon, and he was one of the, I think, 5 or 6 guys who worked with Steve Jobs on the first iPhone. So there are a number of stories that he said about what they did on that team that was working with, and some I can probably mention, some I probably can't and shouldn't, but there were some real precious situations, and some of the things that they did to get the experiences right with the first iPhone were just phenomenal. So it was interesting that we were sort of running through that story. I was able to reflect on a number of conversations from South by with Andy Grignon, who was one of half a dozen guys, as I said, working directly with Steve Jobs, and there was swearing and things being thrown around the room just because they were trying to break the mold. They were trying to change things entirely. But then, moving on to the Samsung lawsuits and all these sorts of things, I totally understand where Apple are coming from. As far as I'm concerned, you've got, your Android versus iOS, and all the Android guys are saying the cool things they do. The reality is, without iOS, there is no Android smartphone because 80% of the first version was a copy of what Apple already did. But the problem is, that's how technology works. That's how life works. It's an innovation of what happened before. And as much as it's annoying having all of these patents and things blocking that's how things work. Everything we do tomorrow is an iteration on what we did today and yesterday and the day before. So it's hard to stop innovation in that way because that's just a reflection of how we operate, evolve as a society.
Andrew, have you tried Android before?
I have. I don't mind it. I just think the experience on Android isn't as good as Apple.
Yeah,
but I
definitely.
do think that what they allow you to do, it's a lot more open platform as far as the things that you can do. But I mean, that has risks in it as well, which we've
Oh, it does.
discussed many times on the show with
Yeah, definitely.
security and things. But I don't dislike Android at all. I think they allow you to do a lot of things, but I just find that the experience on Apple is a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, it is more safer and cleaner and better apps, and just works great. AirPlay and that. So, yeah. Jacob, what about you? Do you have a view on them stories?
I was already talking about him.
Go ahead.
No, I was already talking to him about all the stuff.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right. Jennifer, what about you? Do you have a view on them stories?
I do. I agree with Andrew in regards to the iBeacons. I really think it's going to revolutionize the way that we utilize our devices, or the way marketers and businesses engage with us. It reminds me a lot, reading the story reminds me a lot about reading Robert Scoble's book, Age of Context, with Sheryl Lazar, I believe, right? Is that who wrote it with him? Yeah.
Shell Israel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, wow, I totally got the name mixed up. Thank you.
Oh.
And that's a big difference. Thank you.
Good.
And how we are in an age of context. And that's the thing, when we walk into a stadium or we're walking into a store, for them to be able to send a message to us, or provide content that is actually pertinent to where we are, what time of day it is, what's going on around us. And that's huge. And this is just the beginning. So it's really exciting. I'm thrilled to see that they're launching this in stadiums, and it's awesome. I hope to see these all over the place. I know people are concerned and they think it's creepy, but get over it. It's you carry a device, you're connected. If you don't want to be connected, don't carry a device.
Exactly.
And Jen, that content could even be things like just letting you know that there's no Guernseys left at the marketing stand. Go around to gate 3 if you wanted one, or letting you know that now's a bad time to go to the drinks bar because there's 60 people in queue. All these sorts of things, and contextually, it knows that every other time you've gone to get a drink at half time. So it's only going to tell the people who actually go there to get a beer and a hot dog at half time that now's a bad time and they should go to the gate off to the right-hand side because there's less people. So it's
Well
phenomenal.
said.
It's not just the delivery of what they're doing. It's actually the contextual relevance behind how they're doing it. That's the scary bit. And it's funny because Apple actually had a developer conference about a month ago, and the conference ended with them quoting Spider-Man with great, great
power comes great responsibility.
That's the one, exactly, and that's how they ended it. And it's so spot on, because they're effectively giving us the keys to bug people, to put stuff in their pocket, to ping their phone. So there's a lot of responsibility there that we make sure that what happens is entirely relevant to the experience that they get. Otherwise, people delete the app, they opt out, and that's no good for Apple. It's no good for the consumer. But it's, you touched on a number of things, Jennifer, but this iBeacon stuff is going to be phenomenal if they get it right and if the consumers adopt it.
Is the age of privacy dead?
Ooh, Mulk.
Yes, it is dead. I think
it depends if you want to own a phone or not. If you own a phone, it's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just because you own a phone doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to live off the grid somewhat. Like, why? I understand all of the marketing benefits of iBeacons and that sort of stuff. I just think that what we're going to see is an abuse of that power. They can say, we're not going to spam you with blah, 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 rubbish. You're not. As soon as you, have the Major League Baseball app and you've got access, and give them access to your phone with that app and to use an iBeacon and stuff, your privacy and their access to your data has just ended. As far as what you do and don't want them to see, doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, big corporations are driven by shareholders, and shareholders are driven by money. So as long as they see a way to make an extra 2 points this quarter, their shareholders will demand that they do it. And as you just said, Mark, you're spot on. It might be fun and games in the early day, but as soon as they see a way to exploit it, they're going to have no choice but to do that. And it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, but when people start deleting these apps because they're so intrusive, then it'll, then the shareholders will say, oh, okay, we need to wind this down so people can install it again and start using it. So.
Yeah, but
And
you're
that-
making the assumption that uninstalling the app is going to revoke the use that you've given them previously.
Well, you can turn your Bluetooth off, and that will prevent it from working at all.
Sure, absolutely. But then, the context of what you wanted to have it on for in the first place then becomes null and void, doesn't it?
It all depends.
And this may be with the scrap that we have to go through for the next year or two until we actually get the experience right.
Oh, it's to be legislated. It has to go through a process where people are going to have to realise that it more than just saying, yes, I want to use your app, it's going to mean this to me.
But for legislation to happen, the governments and jurisdictions need to understand the technology, and traditionally they're 2 to 5 years behind where innovation is anyway.
Sure.
So there's a lot.
So one thing that this makes me think of is, on a lesser scale, Foursquare. And I don't know if you use that in Australia, but here in the States, a lot of people use it. And so I have it running, and same with Google offers them within Google Now and things. But depending on whatever type of location-based app it is, these things are actually pertinent. So if I'm driving by somewhere or I'm in a shopping center and all of a sudden on Foursquare something will pop up and say, hey, the store down the street has a sale going on. Or I see you are in Ishi sushi restaurant. Be sure to check out such and such. And I really don't mind that I'm getting these type of ads on there. If anything, I'm kind of intrigued. I'm like, oh, cool. It knows where I am. It knows I'm nearby, and it's throwing me an offer. And yeah, they want me to get business off me, but I don't, and I could definitely turn that off, but I actually enjoy it, So, so that's already kind of being being done on a lesser scale than iBeacons right now. And some people hate that kind of stuff and they get kind of creeped out over it. I don't know, though. I kind of like being in a restaurant and getting an offer.
I totally get that you like it, Jan. I totally get the benefits that they give you. That's the whole point of it, right? That, if you sign up and use our service, then look, we can target ads and tailor things to meet what you want to do and the things that you're doing. And that's cool. It's just, what are they doing with the data of yours that they've collected?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the guest now. Jennifer, because we're going to wrap up very soon. Mulks TV, welcome, mate.
Thank you, mate.
What do you do? And tell us about yourself and these awards that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, the Mulkies are on thick and fast. This is, I guess, a mix between the Emmys, or in Australia, what we'd call the Logies as far as TV awards, and the Razzies. So we like to celebrate all of the things that are good about television and all of the things that are maybe a bit average.
Nice.
It's a bunch of fun. It's all hosted online, and of course the voting process is there. The cool thing is that thanks to some wonderful sponsors, people like Ice TV, we've got the ability to give away prizes for just sharing your opinion about Australian television.
Good one. So do you use Ice TV a lot?
Yeah, it's my weapon of choice when it comes to everything that I do from a media point of view. I'm obviously about talking about television and reviewing television and those sorts of things. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 Ice TV enabled devices at home.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome.
What devices are on them?
I've got a couple of Windows media centers. I've got an old top field and a new top field.
Okay. Nice one.
And my laptop as well, so I guess that's 5.
Okay, 5. Nice one. Good one. While I'm talking to you, what about the IQ3? Any views on
that? Look, we're still to see what the specs for the IQ3 are yet. There's talking about 8 tuners and that sort of thing. Definitely any PVR these days that comes out with anything less than 4 is crazy.
Yeah. It is.
So I think that the IQ3, it's talking about 8. How many of them are going to be useful, I don't know, but the ability to record, more than 2 or 3 things at once is excellent.
Definitely. Andrew, any questions? Okay, we'll go to Jennifer then. Jennifer, any questions?
Well, yeah, this is my first time talking with you, so evidently you're a natural. You've been on the show about 1,000 times, I guess. I don't know, for quite a few times. So, but I guess I was not on the panel before, on the show before. So I'm sorry I missed you before. But so tell me about how this even started. Like, how did you get into creating this business and this website?
Sure, it's just opportunity as much as anything. I like talking about television, and it's one of those things that really polarizes people, in that everyone has an opinion on TV, what they like, what they don't like, how much they watch, how they watch it, all of that sort of stuff. So it felt like a natural extension of the social media engagement and levels of stuff that I've been doing with people to take that on and to have those conversations. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because you're right. Everyone loves to talk about it, right? I mean, even yesterday I'm at lunch with coworkers and we all start talking about, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Did you see this latest episode? And that's what we talk about, So it's a great thing for you to be in. Tell me, what are the Mulkeys?
The Mulkeys are at online TV awards, celebrating the good things and the bad things about television. We've got some great sponsors, people like Ice TV, who have donated a Beyond Wiz 2 terabyte PVR.
Gee, that's right.
With a 5-year subscription to their Ice TV service.
Oh my!
All people have to do is just vote, and they have the chance at winning that.
So they can vote right now on your website.
Yep, they just need to switch by mulkstvtalk.com, and there's their opportunity for them to vote. And quite possibly pick up a prize during the voting process.
That's awesome. People.
I voted anyway. I voted already. So how many times can you vote, Steve?
Just the once.
Okay.
But then if you vote early, you're in for each week's voting prizes. So
sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I voted early anyway. Okay, that's good. Hopefully, I'll win something.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of cool prizes. Not just that, we've got Samsung Galaxy S4 Active, donated by EFTM. We've got lots of TV on DVD packs, all sorts of cool things.
Good stuff.
That's great.
Chatterbox Live, do you have any questions for Steve, for Mox TV?
Yeah, well, do you have anything new that's changed since last time you were here? I mean, did you add any new features or recent additions to your website or service?
The biggest change for me is just that I need to get my finger out and do some more podcasting. I've just been too busy trying to keep everything going and get the Mulkeys up and running. But also my day job is something that is a bit distracting in that I travel quite a bit for that. So I've been over to America twice at the start of the year, and I've got a couple more trips coming up, including one to Mongolia. So it's kind of squeezing things in and everything else.
Wow. My gosh.
Mongolia,
wait, so you run this... you run this website and you have a full-time job at the same, and you travel all over the place.
Yes, ma'am, and a family to boot.
Do you sleep? No,
not
you
much.
Don't sleep.
Something has to give, right?
Yeah. Wow, I'm impressed. Definitely.
So, do you update the website when you're out of town? Do you kind of still do it if
I try to. I mean, the benefit is that a lot of the stuff that I do, particularly nowadays, is online. All of the TV networks that I deal with have all got online services for me to be able to do previews of their product and that sort of thing. So it's not a burden. The only time it's an inconvenience is when I'm on a plane, right? Because in Australia, particularly international travel, we don't have a lot of internet services and stuff for when you travel overseas. So it just means that if I'm on a plane, I've got to have media with me ready to go. But if I'm sitting in a hotel room, whether I'm this side of the world or the other side of the world, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Jacob, any questions?
Not really. You guys really answer them for me.
Okay, Andrew, any questions for Steve?
Yeah, Mark. So from a top down, I mean, social is changing TV as we know it. What are your thoughts, being so deeply entrenched in the industry? What are your thoughts on the next sort of, and this is quite a broad question, but the next 5 or 10 years of where social and how it's going to keep changing TV in the way that we interact, and also products obviously like Ice TV, which give us real-time content, on demand and information and things like that. Where are you sort of seeing TV going with interaction?
Yeah, look, it's certainly the networks are wanting us to engage more and more, and that's key to their success from their perspective. I think it's something that they need to do better. Just saying, we've brought out our own catch-up app and that sort of thing is not enough. They need to have better partnerships and those sorts of things. And Twitter are trying to corner the market anyway in that regard. So it's an interesting mix that we've got things like, Z-Box, and each network have got their own thing. I know that in America, for example, HBO Go is a bit of a legendary thing. And Foxtel Play is doing a bit the same here, but that's not about engagement. That's just about, hey, here's our product. You can watch it any way you want. So, you know, I think that Twitter have got in and done it so well so early that it's tough to kind of see anything else as a reasonable kind of solution or opportunity.
But in saying that, I mean, Twitter have done a great job really pushing hashtags out. How many people here, and there's 5 or 6 of us on here, how many of us actually watch a TV show and have a look at the hashtag and look at who's tweeting and what's happening as we watch it?
Me.
I
do that.
I don't.
Okay. I mean, I've done it from time to time, but it's not my go-to. For me personally, my TV time is my downtime, and maybe it's because I work in tech and the industry. But for me, the last thing I want to do is play with hashtags and things while I'm consuming TV content. What about yourself, Jen?
I really enjoy Z-Box. Andrew, have you tried Z-Box before?
I haven't. I know that at some point I will, and I need to, and all those sorts of things. But I'm avoiding it until the absolute last moment possible.
Especially for AFL, mate. If I know you love AFL and that, and if you know.
Well, what can Z-Box do for me to help my AFL experience?
Well, it gives you the live score and gives you the tags. What happens in the live tag.
I can see that the live score's on the screen all the time. I do use the AFL app a lot to check statistics during a game.
Okay. Mox TV. What about you? What do you think about what Andrew said? What can you tell him?
Look, I think that Z-Box and those sorts of things have a lot of advantages to it. I enjoy jumping on Twitter. That's my weapon of choice when it comes to second screening and social interaction during watching a television show and that sort of thing. But it's horses for courses. Some people like Facebook, some people like that, some people like the other things. The advantages of something like Z-Box is the partnerships that they form with the networks to deliver extra content, additional benefit as to why you should be using the product. So, for example, 10 in Australia, Network 10 are a big partner with Z-Box. And so during things like Secrets and Lies, they've got stars of the show jumping on for an hour after the show to answer questions from people only on Z-Box. That kind of thing. I think that's a really cool addition and functionality that Twitter haven't got to yet, but it won't take them long. Their sway in this kind of market now is so big that if Twitter come knocking and you're a TV network and you don't listen, more fool you.
So there you go, TV networks. Steve said it. Jennifer, what were you going to say to Mox TV?
Oh, I was just answering Andrew's question earlier.
What were you going to say?
No, he had asked if I look up hashtags when I'm watching TV. Just on occasion, if it's maybe like for the Super Bowl or if it's the final episode of Breaking Bad or, something like huge, a finale, but not typically, not too often. Just if it's something that actually matters to me, then I would.
So, Mox TV, what's your favourite show at the moment you've been watching at the moment, mate? Any good shows coming up in the future?
The Walking Dead is killing it for me. Just loving season 4 and the way that's rounding out. Big finale coming this Monday Australian time, Sunday in America. I think it's cracking. But then we've got a whole bunch of good stuff about to launch on a season 4 of Game of Thrones. We've got the Newsroom coming. We've got Wentworth season 2 announced by Foxtel at the Astros.
24's coming. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, Live Another Day. Look, other than it's 12 episodes instead of the standard 24 we're used to, Kiefer Sutherland is back. A whole bunch of the cast are back. I'm just a bit skeptical. I want it to be good, and I think Fox do an all right job. I'm just not sure how much they're going to want us to expect us to believe from the get-go, because it's been 6 years since we've had season 8 of 24.
What's the lead up been like, or the buzz for the new 24? Is there much people sort of talking about it, adoption of it?
Well, Fox and 10 in Australia, who are the broadcaster of it, have just started to sizzle it really. And Fox are kicking it as a big program for them, and rightly they should be. I mean, they've poured some big money into this.
And they did some marketing through the Super Bowl, didn't they? They did a couple of little 1 minute or 30-second segments in the middle of the Super Bowl for it.
Yeah, they haven't mucked around. They want it to be big. And look, when you're pulling someone like Kiefer Sutherland, who was so integral to the process, he won't have come back for $5. He'll have cost a bit of money.
He doesn't work for a cup of coffee, does he?
No, that's right. I would. I think that there's how do we put it? Like any show, it's got the potential to fail, but I think it's got a better leg up than anything else but we've become far more skeptical as viewers now of anything that's rehashed or brought back or that kind of thing. It has to be really good.
It's interesting you say it's 6 years ago. I mean, the whole concept of 24, was it international, drugs and scandals and bombs and all these sorts of things. Are we more intelligent? Will we not buy into that whole concept of how they do it? Like, because of information, the way information has changed over the last 6 years, I just wonder whether we'll actually pick it apart more than we might have used to, or not believe it quite as much.
Well, there's always an element of suspension of disbelief. That's what they always want you to do with any kind of thing. Like, who really believes that there's a zombie apocalypse going, right? But beyond that, which is the core premise of The Walking Dead. But beyond that, I think it's really a situation where they're going to try and paint it into a reasonable context. I mean, all of the other times Jack saved America, and the big kick for Live Another Day is that he has to save the world. Those that remember the series, at the end of season 8, he went dark. He vanished because of what had gone on, and they just felt it was too hard to try and reconcile. Basically, with the president's blessing, he went away, and now he's come back, and he's a wanted man, but he's here still to save the world from whatever's going on. I think it's look, they've got to take it to the next level, and Jack's got to save the world. He's only got 12 hours. I think it's going to be an enjoyable watch.
Yeah,
the
sounds
catch
good.
for Australia will be that on 10, whether or not it gets the audience it deserves.
Is there any word on Sons of Anarchy, Mol? Can he come back at all?
Yeah, it's due to come back. Well, now I don't think we're going to see new Sons of Anarchy now until after the summer hiatus, from an American point of view.
Okay.
So in Australia now, and this might seem a silly question, is everything now sort of played quickly, like played within a day or two of the US release, or are there still some shows that are sort of a month or a couple of months behind US, or is everything sort of fast tracked now?
Lots that's delayed. I mean, it's stuff at the network's sort of volition that they choose to fast track. So Foxtel have their express from the US policy that they're only pulling for stuff that is, kind of big rating, big money for them.
Yeah,
so
the big stuff you might download otherwise.
Yeah, well, Girls, Walking Dead, Newsroom, Game of Thrones, they're fast tracking. They're doing this express process. Real Housewives, like that kind of thing. When it comes to free-to-air television, it's much harder because they're entirely ratings driven, so it has to work into a time slot that works for them. And particularly our summer break, which is the height of winter for America and the UK, when they have a lot of their big programs going on, networks here either say, well, we're going to put it on quickly and lose the rating opportunity, or we're going to hold off, like 7 have with Downton Abbey, 9 have with Sherlock, and we risk losing a bunch of market share, which they did.
That's interesting. Okay. I mean, you lose the diehards because, they're the ones that will probably fast track it themselves. But I guess you pick up the casual viewer and they need to work out what's the best method. And Channel 10 had this exact issue, with the Formula One, trying to get that right, which they've tried to do for a number of years.
Yeah, no, look, it's a tough one, and I would be horrible as a network programmer because my view would be we need to get it on air and make it, let's sell ads and basically ignore this off ratings period, and just make it work. And that would be a great way for 10 to come back, would be to, prove to viewers we're going to be your friend by delivering you content as quickly as it comes out when it, in that international context.
What about you, Jennifer? What's like the TV land over there? What's it like over there for you?
Oh gosh, you mean as far as the TV shows I'm watching right now?
Yeah.
And
that sort of stuff, yeah.
I'll tell you, I've been kind of in between shows at the moment. I was doing some Downton Abbey that came back, and now it hasn't been on for a few weeks. I have been watching a little bit of American Idol, but I'm really into Sons of Anarchy. That's going to be the last season coming up here. I'm really happy that Game of Thrones is about to start back up. Loved House of Cards, and am depressed that I already finished season 2 and won't come back for another year. And then the sitcoms. I do enjoy some of the good sitcoms here in the States. And and have those in my TiVo or my DVR.
Because you use a TiVo, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I DVR a lot, and then also use the. You know what I've been doing a lot of actually lately is downloading things to my computer and then watching it over Chromecast. I've been doing that as of late. Yeah, the past week or so, I've been doing that a little bit more.
I've used Chromecast in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I use my Apple TV and then the Roku, and then for the Chromecast, if I want to view content on my systems, then I'll just do the Chromecast.
What did Craig Shipp say about the Chromecast? Jacob and Jennifer, what did he say?
Fail.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I thought you might remember. It said something funny, but
Chromecast fail.
I don't know. I can't remember what he said, but anyway.
That's his exact words.
Really?
Chromecast fail.
Yeah. Do you use Apple TV, Mox, at all? Apple TV?
I haven't, only because it's not going to bring me any benefit beyond what I do with Foxtel and free-to-air, and I've just got so many distractions there that I can't sort of reconcile it. I can see the benefit, I just haven't gone down that path.
So you use Foxtel a lot?
Look, I use it for a lot of different things, but my attention is spread right across the pay and free TV arenas. So for me to watch stuff on Foxtel, it's going to be I'm after the stuff that I want to see. So it really does tend to become the fairly big name American programs predominantly. Though things like Wentworth, which is huge Australian drama, absolutely must watch television.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on pricing for Foxtel? For the average punter who wants to watch a couple hours of tally at night and maybe a bit of footy on the weekend?
Well, I guess in part the catch will be that soon they're not going to have a choice. As more and more deals are being cut, particularly with sport, and possible changes to the media ownership laws as far as how much and what needs to be on free-to-air and what doesn't, it's not going to surprise me if next time when the AFL or NRL or V8 Supercars deals are up, that Foxtel are allowed to buy them holus bolus, so that if you want to watch AFL, the entire thing's going to be on Foxtel. That said, Foxtel have acknowledged that they're pricing it a little bit more premium than anything else. And a lot of people complained, for example, with the upcoming Game of Thrones series. Last year you could get it on iTunes because Foxtel allowed it. This year they're not allowing it because they've got their Foxtel Play service. Oh, wow. Which is, if you take out the normal deal, that would be $60 or $50 a month for you to get a base package plus the premium drama package, which isn't just Showcase, it's Showcase and Soho and a bunch of others, FX, that'll allow you to watch all of those channels, as much as you want on an iPad or a laptop and all of those sorts of things. Now, that's cool, but some people said, $150 for me to be able to watch Game of Thrones is a bit rich. Foxtel responded, and for people who sign up from the 1st of April, for $35, they get that premium drama package, so a base channel package plus the premium drama package for the 3 months. They can cancel it any time. There's no contracts to it, so that's a benefit straight up. But they have the ability to be able to then say, well, great, I'm at work, I'm on a bus, I can watch Game of Thrones and watch it via the catch-up service and all of that sort of stuff. They've also just added a whole bunch of catch-up full seasons, so season 2 and 3 of Game of Thrones, season 1 and 2 of Veep, season 1 of Wentworth, a whole bunch of stuff is now available in full seasons via Foxtel Play. So the argument for the IQ is becoming less and less, particularly when you can pay $35 for the next 3 months each month and get access to Game of Thrones and the Newsroom and Walking Dead and everything else.
Well, the main reason I got the IQ is because I wanted to get the Fox Footy on because it's sport, really.
Sure, but and that's a limitation of their deal currently with the AFL. Next time you watch, it's going to change.
What's it going to change? Do you reckon? Free to air?
No question, Foxtel are going to fight for the ability to have the IP rights for the AFL. That is, if the AFL don't decide that no, we're not selling them. If you want to watch the AFL, you've got to buy an AFL season pass from us and watch it online via the AFL app or the AFL website.
Mind you, the AFL season pass is only about $80 or $100, which is pretty good value in my opinion.
Look, the opportunity to watch every game live or when you want it, not unreasonable, right?
Yeah, correct.
I'm happy with the HD. I love the HD. It looks great in HD. Have you seen the Fox Footy in HD, Moggs?
Yeah, but not every game's in HD.
It's not?
No, because of the deal that they have with Seven, any game that Seven are broadcasting, they're only giving Foxtel the SD feed.
Okay. I thought it was okay. My bad. I thought it was in HD every.
That's all right. As opposed to the V8 supercars, which Foxtel are starting to show in HD, and then next year with the deal they've got with 10, every race is going to be in HD, which will be incredible.
All right. Okay, Jacob, what's your final view of this show? Let's wrap up. We can get hold of you, Jacob.
It was a good show. I like talking about old video games and old stuff.
Okay. Mention your unboxing and stuff before you go.
Yeah, I had a webcam and my tripod.
Okay. Good stuff. Okay, where can they get hold of you on Twitter?
Jazzbot32669, 1Z, and TechLuster.
Good stuff. Mox TV, what about you, mate?
People can find me on Twitter at MolksTVTalk. Go to my website, molkstvtalk.com, where right now people can vote and tell me what they think of the state of Australian television. Vote in the Molkies.
Definitely. Have you got an iPhone app?
I do not, but then my website's phone ready. So
okay, cool, mate. Cool. Okay, Chatterbox Live. What about you? What's your final view of this show and stuff?
Oh, it was a good show. I enjoyed the news stories were good. You can find me on Twitter as Chatterbox_live.
Okay, Jennifer.
Great show and awesome talking with you, Milk.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you can find me at jenniferruggiero.com. Also, be certain to check out getnerdywithit.com,
Yes,
my weekly podcast.
Yeah, great podcast. You can get me at Techwebcast and Brad Oz. Andrew Cunningham, what about you, mate?
Yeah, if you want to grab me, I'm just on Facebook and Twitter at Cunning Drew, or you can download the Zarfo app, and I'm /Andrew on there. And great to have you on again, Mark. Always a good fun to have a chat.
Yeah, always great chatting, guys. Thank you.
Always to have you on, Steve. Well, good to have you on, mate. Andrew mentioned the USA trip before you go.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I was over at South by Southwest a couple of weeks ago, and LA, San Francisco, Austin. Caught up with a number of cool guys over there. Rob Scoble, Chris Voss, Jason Nunnally, Andy Griglon. So there were a bunch of guys, Joel Com, and spent a lot of time promoting our new Zarfo app, which is out and about now and starting to get a bit of traction, which is really cool. So I'll probably be back in the States again soon. We're doing a fundraise at the moment, which we've got a few different participants who are interested in getting involved in the platform. So it was a really good time, and I really enjoyed it. And Austin and San Francisco particularly were fantastic cities, and you know the guys in the US made me very welcome, and I'm really looking to go back and spend a bit more time.
What was it like meeting Chris Voss?
Chris Voss is a very loud personality. He's a fun, fantastic guy. Like he has an absolute heart of gold. If there's anything you need, he's like, yep, you just tell me, Andrew, what do you need? What do you want? He's one of those guys who the first time you meet him, you feel like you've known him for 20 years. And, you know, I've probably known him a year online, maybe longer, but he's just, you know, he's I guess in Aussie slang, he's a mate.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
And even Robert, I hung out with him a fair bit over there, and we went out a few times, and you know, solidified a number of relationships that I've had online. And yeah, I can come home saying that, you know, we did a reasonable job promoting our app, learnt a lot about what we need to do in the next 12 months, and managed to make a few really good friends in the meanwhile.
You also met that guy from that website too. I can't remember his name now. From that website. That guy, what's that tech guy's name? The guy who owns that news. Who?
Australian or American?
He's American. He writes on the tech news website, Andrew.
Pete Cashmore.
That's it. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, from
Mashable.
Mashable. Yep. Yeah. And I also caught up with another gentleman, Adam Oswald, who is the second employee of Mashable. I caught up with him about a week ago in Melbourne, and we had a coffee and had a chat about what we're up to with Zarfo. Oh, yeah. And I caught up briefly with Gary Vaynerchuk as well.
Oh, yeah.
So there were a number of guys who I sat down and had a chat with. Yeah, it was a really, really good time. And this all sort of happened in the space of about 2 weeks. So it was not a lot of sleep, put it that way. I'd probably about as much sleep as you get, Malk, about 3 hours a night, if that.
So what's the plan for Zarfo, Andrew? What's going to happen in the future for Zarfo, mate? And can you let us know? Can you tell us? Or?
Look, we're working on a few onboarding things at the moment. A couple of challenges around getting Facebook connection. We've now got a version we're waiting for the App Store to approve, which is one-click Facebook connection. The short of it is that we're going to be working a whole lot on our live stuff, and we're pretty confident that in the long run we're going to have a good platform and a good product. It just takes a lot of time. I mean, things like Twitter took a couple of years to really get themselves going. Airbnb took 3 years before they understood what they were doing, and this isn't necessarily about knowing how to make things that work. It's actually the opposite. It's about making things that fail to make things that work. When Edison made the light bulb, he worked out 99 ways that light bulbs don't work before he worked out one that they do. And this is the whole process that we've had for the last 3 years. Our product 2 years ago was absolute rubbish. 1 year ago, it was rubbish. And today, we're getting closer to a product that's good to very good. And in 6 months, we'll have a product that's great. And in a year from now, we'll have a product that's, on the front cover of a magazine.
So the question, that's going to be my next question. When is it? When is it going to stop, Andrew? When will you be happy with the app?
Look, I'll never be happy with the app because there'll always be something to do when I wake up the following day. But I'm getting to a point now where once we get through a few onboarding issues and we start getting, the shareability of the product, we're getting to a place where I can sort of say to people, hey, download the app. This is something that's pretty cool, where I couldn't have said that 6 months ago because, we weren't in that position. But as I said, it's something where with technology, with any product, a mate of mine who's an aspiring author, he's just finished writing his first book, which is fantastic. He's looking for publishing. Someone gave him a mug, and it said on the mug, the first version of anything you do is shit. And that's pretty much right of just about anything in life, I think. If you ask someone like a Zuckerberg what Facebook 1.0 was, and someone else said to me, if you're not entirely embarrassed with the first thing you put to market, then you went too late. So it's just one of those things where we're going to keep learning about what we're doing and making things better and try and keep the doors open as we do it.
All right, sounds good, mate. Well, I'll catch up with you soon and have a chat. And thanks, Steve, for being on Mogs TV.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks, Jacob and Steve, for being on.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for Techwebcast this week. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed having your mind expanded. Tune in next week for more tech talk with Brad, Jason, and whatever crazy guest they've managed to rope in. Don't forget to get the Techwebcast app from iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Techwebcast, and of course check us out on Facebook too. Until next time, may the tech be with you. Peace.